Yo, 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 what is going on, RoK Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be touching on how, as a jump project, do you find your starting kingdom? How do you identify potential KVK kingdoms that you could start your project in? We're going to focus on just kind of one area, but I'll give you some examples on different stages of KVK that you can focus on if that's what your goal is, along with a few other ideas on where you would even go to start your project to get your members, right, the most amount of rewards that they can possibly get before you make it to Final Kingdom. Before we get started, as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you sub, like, ring the notification bell, and of course, if you want to join and be a part of our conversation, hit up our Discord. You can find that in the pinned comment and description down below. So there's a few ways that you would go about doing this. The most important one really is to try and zoom out and figure out how can you identify where KVK kingdoms are, right? So you can kind of figure out what the staging is. So as an example, if we start in the prep season, which everyone has this screen now, you go to the very bottom here and you can look at how old the kingdom is. You can see 70 days here, 72 days, right? So we know that KVK1 started at around 87 days, give or take, and you can confirm this by going into Season 1, you go to the Lost Kingdom list, and then you can see here, right, that none of the kingdoms have, we'll see if any of these have actually started yet. Okay, so look, you can see some of these have started. We'll actually look at the one that has started already to give you an example. So look, this one started 2 days and 20 hours ago. The kingdom age here is 83 days, right? Now, it's about, when I say 87, it's give or take, because it does depend on where that kingdom lands on the region, right? Remember, your first KVK is going to be based on the 8 kingdoms in your region or your continent. So one kingdom or two will start first in the region, then you have to wait for more to open, right? That's where that delay comes in. So you have here, in this example, you have the 2536, which is the last kingdom on this continent, right, is 83 days. But if you minus the 2 days and the 20 hours here, right, this is 81 days for how old that one was. This one here, 89 days and 14, so pretty much about 87. Right, so you're looking right now around 81 to 87 days is how old the kingdoms were there on the continent. Because remember, right, for this one, you're going off the first kingdom that was created. That kind of gets you that 87-day mark, right about. And so these ones haven't started yet. So here's an example of one that hasn't started yet. This is at 83 days, right? So they probably have a couple more days before this one starts. That's how you can pretty much figure out, and you can do this for the additional seasons as well, right? If it says not registered, I'll give you an example for season 2. So that one, okay, so here's one that's 23 days and 20 hours. I'm going to go to the first kingdom there so I can get an idea, and it's 194.17. So minus 23 from 194, if I can do some quick math, 171. So you're at about 171 days for KVK2 to start, which means this kingdom would be a little bit less time, right? So 180 to 194, you got about a 2-week window there from the first to the last kingdom going in for the KVK2 block. Again, however, remember, these can be different too as well, right? They're not necessarily going to be the same exact kingdom, for your season 2. Some of them can vary even for season 3 as well, right, where you'll see probably a little more fluctuation. Yes, see 2364, 2387. But the important bit is just to try and figure out what the timing is. Once you get the timing down and you know what it is, and like I said, you can easily test this out by once you figure out what the window. So here's 23 days, here's this next one. What I would do is I would make accounts in this wherever I find the bubble position at, which in this case, this region of this KVK block for S21055 is the bubble because they haven't started yet, right? So they're about to start. I would make an account here. All you have to do is get past the tutorial, and then you can figure out, and you'll basically come up and this is what you'll see. So I have an account here in 2568. If I click on the map here to the top right, you can see it says Crusaders Will. And this is where it'll show you when your Lost Kingdom is starting. It tells you when the prep period is, when EOTC, Eve the Crusade, starts, and then when your Lost Kingdom is going to start. So this is really important for you to figure it out. And then once you identify when the beginning, at least, for the KVK blocks are that you want to start in, then what you're going to do from there is figure out, do you want to start in the beginning portion of KVK, or do you want to start at the end of KVK? Now remember, just as easily as we figured out when you can start or when KVK starts, you can also figure out when it ends. And you can make accounts in those kingdoms before it ends, and you can test what rewards can you get, what are available to you, right? How much of a window do you have before it ends? And you can time those things out. Now, the most important thing here to just keep in mind and remember is that when you're trying to give your jump project the most amount of rewards, you want to figure out at what stage during KVK, or whether it's the beginning, and or if you want to try and go and start out in a kingdom that has other events. An example of this would be something like strategic reserves, right? Maybe I don't go to a KVK kingdom, but instead I go to a kingdom that has strategic reserves. Maybe they have strategic reserves and Lohar that's going on at the same time. Try and think a little bit outside of the box, right? It really depends on where you see the value in for your group, and then how much research do you want to do to try and find a kingdom that is going to have those events. Because remember, if you want to time events out, the way you have to do that is basically check it every Saturday, right? So you can see Friday's the last day, and then going into reset for Saturday, right, at that 0 UTC, is when you're going to find out the next week's events that are coming up, right? You can only look 7 days in advance, but this is important because you need to make sure you're utilizing the event calendar regardless of what kingdom you're starting, if you're going for KVK or a non-KVK kingdom, for baseline rewards, and then what additional event rewards are going to be there, right? And that's what you want to try and time out. So that's why it's important to take time and make accounts in multiple kingdoms so you can figure out if you're coming up to, let's just say you want to start KVK. Well, what I might do as an example is I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to make an account here in one of or all of these 8 kingdoms, and then I'm going to check all of them once they get to about the EOTC stage, right? Or whenever that next Saturday comes up after EOTC, so I can see what events are going to be in each of the kingdoms. Are they all the same or some different? And then you can kind of pick and choose. Maybe there's another region or 2 regions that are starting here at 321 for prep and then starting 4.2 for LK or your KVK. So this is how you go about identifying how to figure out and gauge where is the most appropriate place for your project to start in order to get the most amount of free additional rewards, right, outside of just leveling your accounts in general. So that's pretty much it for me. This is a pretty short video because there's not a lot to walk through, but I also wanted just to go through what the process is and what steps you need to take to identify these important things to get some of those extra rewards for your jump project. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, as always, I'd love to know what you guys think. Is there anything maybe I missed or I didn't touch on? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's it for me. Until next time, I'll catch you later.